Hi everyone and welcome to my submission for the NYX Face Awards Top 15. The theme for this look was Drop Dead Gorgeous and I've created these two looks, so let's get started. So the first thing that I'm doing is using the Photo Loving Primer, and I'm going to be putting this all over my face just as a base. Then I'm going to be taking the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. This is in the lightest shade. I think this shade was called Vanilla, and I want my skin to be paler than what it is normally. I'm pretty pale at the moment, but needed it to be as pale as possible for this look to create quite sort of a goth feel. And now I'm just using my concealer just in the high points and underneath my eyes. Then going in with the NYX Highlight and Contour Pro palette. I'm using the lighter matte shade just on those high points where I put the concealer. And then I'm going to be using the No Filter Finishing Powder and dusting this all over the rest of my face. Going back into that contour palette, then I'm now going to take a contour shade, and I'm creating quite a harsh contour with this, much more harsh than I would on a sort of a day-to-day wear basis, to have it really show up on camera and just to look a little bit more glam. Taking this really beautiful neutral sort of peachy blush, I'm just using a little bit of that. I didn't use any bronzer this time around because I didn't want her to be bronzy. And of course, going back into that contour palette, I used the highlight out of that, just to create a little bit of a glow. And then we go on to eyebrows. So first I go over my eyebrows with like a medium brown, but because the wig that I'm going to be wearing has dark roots, I then also go on top of just the ends, but halfway to the end, with a black, and just to darken that up and to make it blend in with the wig a little better. Taking the Beauty School Dropout palette, I first take this really nice neutral brown and I use that in my transition shade to give me something to blend the black into. Then going in with the NYX Primal Hot Black, I then start building this black shadow. This is very time consuming. I put a little bit of tissue paper underneath just to try and stop a little bit of fallout, because black is a nightmare for that. And just smoking it out, going over and over and over, and also using a slightly darker brown in the transition just to help blend that black out as well. Putting some eyeliner on my waterline, some highlighter on my inner corners to make it really bright, mascara, and then going in with my lip colour. I chose a bright red for this look. This is the Lip Bluster, NYX Cosmetics Lip Bluster, and this is a beautiful red. And then put on all my accessories, and that is the first look completed. Let's jump into the second. So the second look I made actually like a full latex mask to wear for this look. So I crafted this just on a polystyrene head, so not exactly fitted to my face, but it fitted well enough. So the first thing that I do now that I've got this is I just start trimming out the eye holes, the mouth hole. I trim it up all around the sides. And once I think that I've got a really good fit, then I put in these contact lenses. Oh my goodness, let's just not even talk about those. Oh man. Yeah, that was painful. Then I use a black tooth enamel just to give my mouth a really, really gross effect. This just brushes off with a toothbrush and toothpaste afterwards. Thank goodness. It looked so attractive. Now applying Vaseline to my eyebrows and to my hairline, the last thing I wanted was a wax after taking that mask off. So this just protects all the hair that you don't want sticking to the glue. So I super recommend this stage. Now I'm putting Spirit Gum all over my face, and I also apply the Spirit Gum on the inside of the mask, and then just place it on my face. Sort of start from the center out, and it took a little bit of pressing and a little bit of like holding until it really sort of dried, but we did get there in the end. Looks a little uncomfortable, but it wasn't actually too bad to wear. And going in with some scissors again and just giving it a little bit of a trim up of the areas that I feel like it needed it. And taking that Spirit Gum again on the edges to glue all those edges down nice and flat as possible. I do go over this with liquid latex to seal it down, so it's not like super too much of a, you know, you don't have to get it perfect, but as flat as possible. And now just going in with the sponge and that liquid latex too, and I go over this several times until I'm happy with sort of the seamlessness of that seam. And also just around the edges, I tried to get this like as blended into my skin as possible, which is quite difficult because it wasn't an amazing fit to my face because it wasn't done on my own face cast, it was done on a polystyrene head, but it still worked out okay. And using a hairdryer just to speed up that process a wee bit as well. And I used a little bit of liquid latex and just some cotton wool just to try and blend that seam around my eye sockets a wee bit and around the mouth. So that's a really good trick to really like do a quick sort of blend of real harsh lines. Sticking it all down some more. Oh, it looked great. And now I'm going in with foundation. So now that everything feels like it's pretty down, stuck down, I go in with that same foundation and put this all over my mask as a base, using that finishing powder again to set that down as well. Then taking the NYX Primal Colors Hot Black, I use this to start contouring out my face and start putting in shadowing and highlighting where I wanted it on the mask. This takes a little while, but it was well worth it in the end. And just colouring in those eye sockets black as well. So just going over and over and over, adding detail where I can. I add a little bit of red eyeshadow from the Beauty School Dropout palette around the teeth. And I also use a dark blue, a really dark blue shadow, just to give it a little bit more of a colour contrast so it's not just black. This is Twink. I use Twink colour correction, writing correction fluid to make my teeth a little wider, and just a black liquid lipstick to make my mouth even blacker because it just wasn't black enough with the eyeshadow, and just making it a little bit messy. Also using that liquid lipstick to just create more definition because, like I said, that eyeshadow just was not quite dark enough for me. I then proceed to take that liquid latex and just some tissue paper down along my my neck and my chest. I wanted this all to blend in and be like one. I didn't want just a mask. I wanted like the whole thing to get a really good effect. So this can be really messy. Like I wanted this messy, I wanted this torn, I wanted this skin texture to look really gross. So yeah, it wasn't too tricky to make it look that gross actually. Taking foundation, covering it in foundation, and then again the same thing, the same eyeshadows, the same colours, just in sort of like pockets and areas like you can see that I'm doing, just to give it a wee bit more of a disgusting texture. And taking that red as well, just to again give it more texture, give it more substance. And adding on all my accessories, that is it. I added a little bit of clear lip gloss as well on the top of the mask just to give it a real gross sort of wet look. I absolutely loved creating this for you guys. This was like a dream for me to do this. I've always wanted to do a full face prosthetic, and now I am just wrapped. I hope you guys really enjoy this. Voting is only happening for 3 days. It starts on Wednesday, finishes on Friday. I would love to be in the top 6, and if you could please vote for me, that would be amazing. So thank you for sitting through this. Let's get on to some bloopers because it's fun.
This tastes disgusting. Yeah.
Okay.
You just see this like glob of it just go.
Oh, that is foul. Thank God that's black.
It's still filming. It's amazing.
Oh my God, it's like, oh my God, it's like a red standing mate. Oh my God.
I'm filming this. It's just hilarious.
Look how black it still is.
It's disgusting.
It's so gross.
You've got like a goatee.
I know.
I guess as long as you get it off your teeth, then you won't look like a hillbilly.
Oh, this is bad. Whose idea was this even? Like, I think that's even a boob out there.
Ow!
Can I just drive home like this? Okay. Ah. Ah. Oh.
Oh, listen to the sound.
Who needs dermaplaning? Ah.
Oh. And the band-aid coming off.